handle yourself. You might be just who they're looking for. Judging by what I've heard, it's an accurate one. The poor individuals still living there have renamed it to better reflect its dreadful circumstances. They call themselves the Union. Something of a resistance movement, I understand, against more aggressive forces. One of their representatives is currently staying with us, a Mr. Skippy Rorich. Delightful man.
Only likes to organize his stamps. Nothing else.
Indeed, isn't that marvelous? They salvaged it and painstakingly repaired it. It's fully functional now. I was very pleased to be able to contribute to this effort in my own small way. If you wish to see it, it resides on the roof of the refuge between flights, along with its charming pilot, Miss Lennox. Oh, you're terribly brave, aren't you, dear? Imagine if we all had such courage. Now, darling, before anybody bundles you off, the first thing you should do is introduce yourself to some of the responders. I just so happen to know a few in need of more local assistance, and helping them will earn you the other thing you'll need. That other thing, of course, being the ultrasight battery cells, which fuel the vertibird. Ultracells, if you prefer.
The White Springs decor is refined and decadent.
Our lovely Ms. Rucker is the closest thing to a leader the refuge has, though I believe she's less than comfortable with the title. You can find her in their headquarters, beyond the dining area. The darling chef, Miss Rousseau, needs some assistance in the kitchen, I hear. And Ms. Wagner, over in the common area, is looking for donations. I'm sure your generosity will be well rewarded. Wonderful. When you are finished, I imagine he'll want to discuss the situation in the pit. Do feel free to visit me at your leisure if you wish to chat. I have an office in the management wing. Lovely to see you once again. I'm afraid you may wish to ask lovely Rucker,
for a lot of people, yourself
A
included.
wonderful idea, of course. It can be a beacon of hope for the unfortunates of Appalachia. And as I believe I mentioned, darling, the management are very positive on the effort and give it.
Don't listen to any naysayers.
I am ready as ever. Me, dear? Would you really want to dispel all the mystery? What is it you wish to know? Do I have an admirer? Flattery will get you everywhere, darling. That being said, there is little to tell, really. I am the White Spring Management's liaison to the Responders' Refuge. It's a role I quite enjoy. It pleases me when I can be of service to others. I don't mean to be coy, dear. My work is my life, as they say. It fills my time and fulfills me. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? Besides, don't you find a bit of mystery all the more compelling? If I bared my soul and told you everything, I'm sure you'd be terribly bored. If I remain an enigma, it might keep you coming back for more of these lovely chats.
I could really use a drink, but Rucker wants us sober.
I can't imagine there's anything of interest to you there, dear. But you may ask. Oh, here and there, darling. I've been to lots of places before the management asked me to take over here. If you want to imagine a thrilling and intriguing story about my past, don't let me stop you, please.
I wish they'd tell us what all of those construction workers are up to.
Can't wait for my tell-all autobiography. I can't blame you. Who knows when I'll find the time to write it? How about just a little dark secret of mine to tide you over? I'm not from anywhere interesting, actually. Nothing remarkable about my origins at all. Disappointing, isn't it, dear? That's why I usually let people imagine their own version of things. Keeps them interested. Working after a fashion. You must understand, dear, the management cannot travel as freely as most people can. In their stead, I have wandered far and wide, seeing to their interests and being their eyes and ears, hands too, as necessary. It had its good moments. I enjoy meeting new people, and much of the countryside is still beautiful, despite everything. But to be honest, my darling, it was a relief to come here to do this. It's been too long since I could remain in one place for a while. Promise me you won't get bored if I become a homebody. I'm getting used to a soft bed and clean clothes. Not at all, dear. There is very little I'm permitted to speak about, but ask away, dear. My dear, nothing would bring me more joy than to answer your questions. Your suspicions wound me. However, my employer values their privacy as highly as they value the fine work the responders are doing here. Suffice it to say, they are the owners of the White Spring, as I believe I've mentioned. I am at your...
These robots.
I'm afraid you... Actually, no, they didn't. That's no fault of theirs, darling. Nobody could have known the owners were still involved. Management has monitored the property, of course, and there have been scavengers before, but the robotic staff sufficed. Once aware the responders were establishing a permanent presence, management sent me to bestow their blessing and be their liaison.
Nothing else. Oh, if only
I am...
dust those shelves of his.
I'll be delighted to explain what I... Oh, a bit of this, a bit of that. Whatever they require. As you might imagine, the state of things prevents them from much travel. I go where they need me to go and see to what affairs they see fit. In this case, the White Spring itself and the refuge. Think of me as a concierge, my dear. I'm here to improve your experience in whatever way you require. My role as liaison is to facilitate the needs of the responders and our guests, and speak for the interests of management. That sounds terribly formal, I know, but in practical terms, I oversee the robotic staff to attend to the former, and in the latter case, I arrange for the disbursement of resources from management. Food, medicine, materials. Management has considerable resources, which they are happy to donate. I handle those arrangements. Now, darling, you can't imagine I would tell you a thing like that. A less trusting soul might think you were pumping me for information in the hopes of planning a heist. Of course, I know that's not why you ask, but you understand why I have to be rather secretive on this subject, don't you? Let's just say management wisely invested its wealth when such things mattered, and are now well-equipped to be generous. Of course, darling. Certainly. What do you require?
The White Springs decor is
But of course, the White Spring is home. However, if you prefer a human touch with your shopping experience, may I recommend you speak with Giuseppe? A charming man with a discerning eye. I have no doubt you shall get along famously, dear.
Love Esme's cooking. It's been so
I
long.
believe the responders have commandeered the kitchens to provide for those deprived souls coming to the refuge. However, the White Springs robotic waitstaff can no doubt provide you with light libations in the dining area. You may wish to head downstairs to the merchant concourse and visit. Regrettably, the White Spring itself is not equipped to provide full medical care at this time. I do apologize, darling. And the refuge clinic is reserved for the poor indigents arriving at its doors in dire straits. If your needs are less immediate and severe, may I suggest a visit to the chemists in the downstairs concourse? Doc Stanley has a variety of medicines.
Mr.
Not at all.
only likes to organize his stamps.
Believe me.
Oh, if only he would dust those shelves of his.
Oh, they really messed it up here.
It is a lot of work to maintain the property.
The union uniforms need an overhaul. Dunham's very last year. How about plaid? Hey, sport. You wouldn't happen to be handy with an electrocompression spanner, would you? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you aren't. I invented the thing. Sorry to put you on the spot, kid. I'm Skippy Rorich, but you can call me Skip, Ro, Skippo, or whatever else you fancy. I'm here on behalf of the Union. We're a band of loose-knit freedom fighters from the pit up north. We're looking to get our home back from a group of raiders called the Fanatics. Hoping Appalachia has some help to offer in that. Oh, don't worry about that thing. Barely works anyway. Silly to bring it up. Oh, we're past the electro spanner. Consign it to the dustbin of history. I'm moving on to the hydrolo spanner. Much higher ceiling on that one. The pit is, well, it used to be Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now it's something else entirely, overrun by all manner of nasty. But it's our home, and we want to win it back, clean it up, and make it livable again. Whoa, alrighty then. Fair enough, kid, friend. Fair enough. I'll watch my tongue from now on. Not at all. Ask away. And I'll tell you everything you want to know. The Union is our grand experiment in human decency in the pit. All the people working together to rebuild a place that most say ain't worth rebuilding. We fight the Fanatics, the Ferals, and any other awful thing that stands to hold back progress in the Steel City. And there are a lot of those. Well, you know, we used to be a trade union before the war. A lot of us are holdovers from those days, old factory hands. Sticking together now like we did then. But we take all kinds, so long as they share the goal of winning back our foul city and making it fair again. That mix makes us a rowdy bunch, but it's also our secret sauce. Our eclectic minds think of things our enemies wouldn't imagine. So we stay one step ahead or even an inch ahead, but that's enough to keep us in the game. Quite frankly, because the odds are stacked against us. We represent civilization in the pit. Most folks up there have put that by the wayside, given in to their animal instincts. We want our home back, but we can't do it alone. That's all there is to it. If the Fanatics unite the pit, they'll start marching elsewhere. That's trouble for Appalachia. Trouble for you. If that ain't motivation enough, well, I'll make it worth your while, don't you worry. War breeds innovation. If there's one thing we have, it's that. We can build you all manner of fighting gear. Guns, grenades, armor, you name it. It'll be yours if you give us your aid. I'm the union's inventor, quartermaster, and coordinator. I'm the brain guy. I use the know-how in this dome here of mine to help the kids in the field in any way I can. Sure thing. Can I? Of course. Will I? Also, of course. All right.
Can't believe we got a vertebrate.
Always a pleasure
That's a
to see
step
a
up in the
guest.
world if I've ever seen one.
A lot of supplies here that look like for the big.
Well, hello there, stranger. Pleased to meet you. I'm Sophie Wagner. Look around. The Refuge. Quite a place, isn't it? I mean, sure, fancy pants, golf club, resort, that's nice, but I'm talking about the Refuge. A haven for the lost, the dispossessed, the hungry, and unfortunate. A monument to our ability to have compassion for each other. Isn't it grand? Isn't it worth preserving, building, growing? Now that's what I'm talking about. People supporting each other. You got the right spirit. Rucker's put me in charge of running a bit of a donation drive. Have you met Rucker? She's amazing. You should. Anyway, it might surprise...
I'd love to be a senior scribe someday. I can't think of a higher honor.
Robot butlers? Is this a refuge or a palace?
Let me check my notes. We always need molded plastic. You can never have too much of it, and I gotta be honest, we don't have enough. I'd love it if you could help us with, 50 pieces? We could do a surprising amount of good for a surprising amount of people.
The potatoes here taste amazing. So fresh, and only a few rats. Appalachia's supposed to be the safest place around. But I've heard of the monsters that lurk in the woods here, and I'm not so sure about that.
It's been sunny all week. I love it here.
That's okay. Who just carries that around in their pockets or whatever, right? I'll be here all day, though. If you want to come back, bring it by later. If you can, of course. You know where to find me. It'd really make my day if you did.
You'd think with all that tinkering Skippy does that he'd come up with something more medicinal. I love Esme's cooking. Oh, it's been so long since I've had food with actual flavor.
Sorry I'm not much for conversation. Allison talked my ear off. I heard about what happened in Morgantown.
A bit sickly.
I know
There's
it
a
was
poultice
way
my
back.
mama taught me how to make.
I'm glad they chose to send me
you should try
somewhere
it.
safe and not somewhere like that.
Damn, that bloodbug sting was nasty. That's what it was like pre-war when they were tiny.
place could stand to have some cats.
I was out scavenging for food earlier, only got attacked by Scorch once. We could always use an extra hand around here.
I'd like to think of them as refined.
Jumping people is
Looking for something different? We have regional flavors you won't find this side of Nuka World.
These robots sure make my job easier.
I heard there's a chess set around here if you ever want to play.
Hope you're doing all right, Mama. You're always in my thoughts.
You'd think with all that tinkering Skippy does that
Glad to
he'd
see
come
you
up with
return.
something more medicinal.
Are you ready to donate?
Considering all the places I could have ended up.
You do? Sorry.
If you ever find yourself in a bind, you can always call on us.
I don't think there'll be a home left.
Good don't always win.
Oh, how are we going to accommodate so many guests? They aren't even paying.
Well, not specifically asked, but...
Look, the White Spring is in shambles! A mess! How can I clean that which continues to...
did mention needing some help with something for...
The better question is, what is right? Everything has run amok. Get the respondent.
The lovely Miss Wagner's charitable efforts. Yes, I hadn't forgotten.
Oh, and Esme's got something going on in the kitchen she could use a hand with.
Well, I
wish
shall
they'd tell
certainly
us what
see
all
what
of
I can
those
do about
construction
that.
workers are up to.
I'm sure I can
Look at
arrange
what a
some
mess they're
assistance in these
making.
matters.
If you're caught out and about with no place to go, the responders have an outpost in Flatwoods.
Oh, well, hello, darling. A pleasure to meet another guest of our fine establishment. I am Orlando, your host and management liaison. If you'll pardon me for just one moment. That will be all. Please give my regards to Ms. Rucker. If you are here for leisure, I regret to inform you that our regular resort activities are temporarily unavailable. However, if you are here for the refuge and the fine work of the lovely responders, I am delighted to welcome you on their...
That miscreant from Crater scratched my chassis on the way in.
Are you really, dear? How marvelous! In that case, I'm sure you can't wait to get involved here. Ah, perhaps you have not heard. The White Spring is now home to the Refuge, a place of safety and care for... The Refuge is being run by the responders, individuals They founded the Refuge in response to new waves of refugees. Food, medical care, clothing, a place to sleep, all of these. What a wonderful thing for you to ask, darling. I knew there... As it happens, the responders are looking for volunteers. Those industrious wonders have repaired a vertebra. They've made allies with people in Pittsburgh. The locals call... If you don't mind me saying so...
I wish they'd tell us what all of those construction workers are up to.
Judging by what I've heard, it's an accurate one, sadly. Pittsburgh was bombed quite severely during the poor individuals still living there have renamed it to better reflect its dreadful. Indeed, isn't that marvelous? I was very pleased to be. If you wish to see it, it resides on the roof of the refuge between flats. They call themselves the Union. Something of a resistance movement, I understand. One of their representatives is currently... Well, they'll be better able to explain the details, but I believe they're looking for fighters, actually. Their contacts in the pit are in something... I hate the thought of you putting your... Oh, you're terribly brave, aren't you, dear? Now, darling, before anybody bundles you off, the first thing you should do is introduce yourself to some of the responders. I just so happen to know a few in need of more... That other thing, of course, being the ultrasight battery cells, which fuel the vertibird. Ultracells, if you prefer.
Oh, how are we going to accommodate so many guests? They aren't even
There's no problem too big to solve.
Why, from me, of course. Rather, from the management. When management heard the responders were restoring the vertibird, they provided the ultracells, and I suggested them to the responders as an alternative means of... Per management instructions, I distribute a quantity to certain individuals. Management feels this encourages collective decision-making. I'm sure they'd be willing to part with them in exchange for... Our lovely Ms. Rucker is the closest thing to a leader the refuge has, though I believe she's less than comfortable. You can find her in there. The darling chef, Miss Rousseau, and Miss Wagner over in the common area.
Don't listen to any naysayers.
Wonderful. When you are finished with each of them, I imagine he'll want to discuss the situation in the pit with you before you embark. Do feel free to visit me at your leisure if you wish to chat. I have an office in the management wing. You can't miss it.
I wish they'd tell us what all of those construction workers are up to.
Rest.
Well, hello there, stranger. Pleased to meet you. Look around. The refuge. Quite a place, isn't it? I mean, sure, fancy pants golf club resort, that's nice, but I'm talking about the refuge. A haven for the lost, the dispossessed, the hungry, and unfortunate. Isn't it grand? Isn't it worth preserving? Built? Sort of. Well, I haven't seen you around before. I'm actually more in the material support end of things. Now that's what I'm talking about. People supporting each other. Rutgers put me in charge of running. It might surprise you to know, an operation. We work hard to keep things in stock in that funny... So here I am, asking generous folks such... Let me check my notes. Well, I'll tell you, we've had a heck of a run on Rock. If you could spare... That's... oh, I'll be here all day. It'd really make my... Robot butlers? Is this a refuge or a palace?
I'd love to be.
Glad to see you've returned. Are you?
I can think of a higher.
You do? It just so happens. Rutgers set aside some ultrasight battery cells that can spare you from the ones the White Spring management doles out. Fancy a vertibird trip? They're not much use for anything else, but I got a feeling you're gonna need them. See? Mutual aid. Everybody wins. Thanks so much for the help. drop by again. If I know Rucker, I'll be looking for something new every day. Take care of yourself.
I wouldn't want to be Rucker. I never thought a single person could be spread something.
Always make sure to boil your water before you drink it.
No reservation.
Bonjour. My name is Esme Rousseau, but most people around here, we've had some I thought that we could help them out. I've started a pot of venison and potatoes. How wonderful! I can't wait to whip up something delicious for everyone. The stew requires potatoes, venison, salt, black pepper. Your job is to grab the ingredients. Super! Let's have you start by stirring the stew, which will help keep it from burning. Remember to continuously stir during the cooking process. Fantastic! Let's get the first of the ingredients and prepare them. You're looking for
Can't
carrots,
believe we've got a
potatoes,
vertibird.
and the pièce de
That's a step up
résistance,
in the world
the
if I've ever seen
venison.
one.
I heard about what happened in Morgantown. I know it was way back, but I'm glad they chose to send me somewhere safe. Not somewhere like that.
Good morning. The dining room is open for breakfast. Please feel free to seat yourself.
I heard a bunch of nerds arguing over comic book heroes yesterday. Aren't there more important things to worry about?
A dash of this, a sprinkle of that. Perfection.
Helping people is our chief mission. The cool uniforms are just a nice bonus. Robot butlers? Is this a refuge or a palace?
Please seat yourself. A waiter will be with you shortly.
This bloodleaf aioli really elevates the mirelurk meat.
No reservations required. Help yourself to
There's
any
no problem too big
table.
to solve.
My friend, I hope you will stop. Oh,
I can't wait until dinner. The potatoes here taste amazing. So fresh. And only a few rats.
I could really use a
Good
drink.
morning. The
But Rucker wants
dining
a sober
room
on the job.
is open for breakfast. Please feel free to seat yourself.
I hope we get some that claw meat soon. Its tenderness is magnifique.
This wanton robot tried to give me a haircut before running off. It's a shame. I can't get at the back by myself. Your uniform's a bit worse for wear, but it's good to see you helping out the cause.
Oh, the work I do is extremely rewarding, but boy, is it tiring.
Can't believe we've got a vertibird. That's a step up in the world if I've ever seen one.
Good morning. The dining room is open for breakfast. Please feel free to seat yourself.
Oh no, the stew has burned. Do not be discouraged though. Without failure, there is no improvement. Here is your stew. Something is better than nothing, yes? Hopefully, either the settler or raider representative will find some use for this. I last saw them in the bar area.
You have anything to do with this place? We got a bunch of people coming into Crater, trying to eat all our food. It would be insulting to even give this to one of our prisoners. Thanks for nothing.
It's nice to see people.
Good morning.
Orlando is very charming, but to be honest with you...
We could always use an extra hand around here. Is this
Well, seems like timing is one of your strong suits. Look, I can stitch up a gash with the best of them. Got a lot of folks here. What we need, I've heard you're looking, and what keeps her in the air are those... So, that's the deal. Hope you don't mind, Hidden. Can the responders count on you?
long since I've had food with actual flavor?
Braxton's... We're hoping to find... So talk to me. Nice. Anything you're able...
I heard a bunch of nerds arguing over comic book heroes yesterday.
The work I do is extremely rewarding.
A red stag on a stage. A deer in stage light. Don't bother talking to that person.
You ever wonder where Giuseppe gets all his curios from?
There's times you've gotta...
Spring remains secure.
It's all in your head, they say.
I'm gonna join up and take on the wasteland. What is? Brother who needs new soldiers.
Who goes there? Oh, dear God.
mistakes going forward. Go home. Let us take care of things here.
wanton robots try to give me a haircut before running off. I wouldn't want it. It's a shame. I can't get at the back by myself. This one could be smart something.
Mr. Della Ripper only likes to organize his stamps. Nothing else.
What? Sure, whatever.
I can't remember the last time I ran my hand.
I suppose a nice refuge like this is worth more hungry mouths.
Why even bother helping people that can't help
Rucker said you were helping us out. I hope you were able to track down the surgical equipment plans. These plans are really detailed. With any luck, we'll be able to convince Skippy to help us put some of these together. Getting this here means so much. Thank you, from all of us.
All these supplies. You could really do some good trading with the White Spring.
If you ever find yourself in a bind, you can always call on us.
I wish they'd tell us what all of those construction workers are up to. A mess they're making. Please, do mind where you step. Oh. That miscreant from Crater scratched my chassis on the way in. How rude! I got a veiled threat from Orlando the other day telling me they'd reprogram me if I'm not more positive. Oh, how are we going to accommodate so many guests? They aren't even paying.
Getting used to sleeping with both eyes closed. Any idea where Orlando gets their clothes? I swear I could do with a wardrobe upgrade. You ever get that feeling like you forgot something? Except I'm not sure what it is I forgot.
Might be a little ostentatious. It's nice to be somewhere not covered in dirt for once.
Time to dirty it up a little.